What's going on, people? It is Irish Gunner HD here, you can call me Irish, and welcome to episode 29 of Will It Drift. So, today's car is the Ford Escort RS1800, otherwise known as the Mark II Escort. And it was suggested by my buddy John, so cheers for the suggestion, man. Let's get into it. As standard, it comes with 115 horsepower, 126 foot-pounds of torque, and it weighs 1,986 pounds. Now, I thought that it was fairly reasonable off the line, but in fairness, that's because it doesn't really have a very high speed to get to. It doesn't really... It's not slow off the line because it doesn't have a very high speed to like not be slow to get to, if you know what I mean. So it like that kind of negates it. It's very bouncy. There's like just endless amounts of lean and body roll. Same thing really, but you know what I mean. It was actually surprising, to be honest, knowing that it's like a famous rally car and stuff like that. I know obviously they don't rally them stock, but it was strange. But what I did definitely notice was that it was basically incapable of drifting. You just drive as fast as possible towards the apex of the corner, pull up the handbrake, hit the clutch, and then just control the power slide that happens. There's no real skill involvement whatsoever. And as far as the gearing goes, you have to just stick to second gear, because like even like third gear is not an option. And even when you do spend the whole time in second gear, if you are when you are mid drift, you pretty much are always in the red line or just under it. Like you're like, I don't know. It's just pretty awful overall. It's not an enjoyable car to drive at all as standard, which again was surprising. I wasn't expecting to be as bad as it was. But for the medium build, then it's got 185 horsepower, 176 foot-pounds torque, and it weighs 1,783 pounds. Sorry. And the modifications are, as usual, all drivetrain and race and platform and handling and stuff like that. No, sorry, all drivetrain and platform to race cams, and I put in the turbo conversion. Now, I wasn't expecting big things out of this, to be honest, given how bad the stock build was. But I was quite surprised, to be honest. It gets up and goes much quicker off the line, although you can definitely feel the turbo lag. So while it does take off the line a lot quicker, it's kind of hampered a bit by the turbo lag. But it is actually very driftable. It's pretty controllable. It can still kind of snap out of the drift. In other words, just grip up and straighten up. And then on the other hand, strangely enough, it can also spin out at any point. So it introduces the element of skill needed to drive it, which, as I always say, I like it. I like cars that don't just drive themselves. I like cars that you have to put effort and attention and focus into to be able to drive them. As far as the gearing then in the medium build goes, it works for what it is. Second could be a bit better, third could be a lot better, but it does work for what it is, for the amount of power that it has and stuff. It does the job to keep it sideways, as you can see here in the video. Overall, I was surprisingly, strangely impressed with it. But yeah, going into the full build then, I kept it the similar look the whole way through. I just made it look like a kind of rally spec. And then the full build has 286 horsepower, 272 foot-pounds of torque, and it weighs 1,798 pounds. And the modifications, of course, are full build and tune, as I would do on the other car. Now, it flies off the line with the right kind of throttle control. Sorry, it just tears off the line. It just goes. As long as you don't just put the foot down, and if you do that, the wheels will just spin and spin and spin. But if you have the right amount of throttle control off the line, sorry, stumbling over my words. Yeah, it just flies. It grips up and goes. And then it's really good if you can drive it. That's the thing. It's not an easy car to drive. It seems like I think I might have a little too much power in it for the small size, the little skinny rear tires. But it's definitely got a character to it. That's one thing that I noticed. It's definitely got its own personal, unique feel to it. I've always said actually about the Mark II Escort that along with probably, what was the one that they put in another car? There was two cars that I felt were aimed towards drifters, and even this isn't aimed towards drifters particularly, but it is a good drifter, a good true driver's car. It does take a lot of attention and focus and skill to drive it well. And it's just, the last thing that I noticed was just a day and night difference between the stock build and the full car. But will it drift? Yes, I definitely think so. I've seen them in public lobbies. I don't think I've ever taken my one that I had already built before this into public lobbies. But I definitely think it will. It's another one of those that's not going to keep up with Supras and muscle cars and Skylines and V8s and all that kind of thing. It's not going to keep up with them. Again, the lower horsepower kind of Silvias, lower horsepower kind of AE86s. I'd say if you had a buddy with a reasonably built AE, or a relatively similarly built AE86, the two of them would go brilliantly together. You'd have a great time in the tandem online with those. But that's about it. Great little car. Definitely recommend trying it out. Don't be put off by the stock build at all, by the stock feeling of it. But that's it. Again, if you enjoyed it, please do leave a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're new here. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.